So, this is the first week of 2017, and while it is tempting to shut the door on 2016 as one of the most depressing years ever, still, it wouldn't be fair to forget that the past year was also a treasure trove of creative talent. It's actually surprising that despite everything that went wrong, Pakistani film and music released some pretty exciting content, and here are just some of the projects that restore our faith in the country's creative prowess. Now, crowdfunding made its Pakistani debut in 2016. It's not a new phenomenon. Basically, what it means is that people ask for donations for their projects online. Most notably, it was used by acclaimed director Spike Lee to finance one of his projects. And there is something thrilling about the idea, because it allows creators a lot of freedom. Rather than relying on corporate bigwigs, this allows artists to prioritize their art. And I think that we all owe a certain debt of gratitude to Usman Riaz. For his now famous, although not yet released film, The Glass Worker, Usman and his team ran a very successful crowdfunding campaign, which culminated in a towering $116,000. Yes, repeat that figure to yourself. On paper, everything about the project was a risk. The insistence on hand-drawn animation, the nuanced story, an ambitious but young team. Add to this the fact that instead of going the very traditional route of corporate investors, they decided to take their idea to the people.
Thank you all so much. This has been an amazing turn of events. I don't think any of us expected to reach our initial funding goals so quickly. I cannot thank our backers enough. We couldn't do this without all your help.
No, Usman, thank you for reminding us how good it feels to win. Hamza Bangish and his team stretched the envelope even further. They decided to produce a project that was called Too Dangerous for Pakistan by investors. Again, a very successful crowdfunding campaign later, his emotionally charged film Rang Raz, or The Secret of Color, is receiving a lot of viral support and is slated for a 2017 release. On a musical note, the local scene has seen a transition towards diversity. 2016 may as well be remembered as the year when every kind of music had its moment. Now, technically, Patari wasn't launched in 2016, but it wouldn't be amiss to say that this was the year when we saw their ascension from a streaming service to an industry staple. They became a lucrative platform for musicians to release their albums. And yes, I know we don't like to talk about money, but if people are not making money, they will not be making music, so someone has to bridge that gap. And Patari are the people doing it. It was also a great year for folk music, perhaps thanks to two groups. Firstly, Lahuti Live Sessions, initiated by Saif Samejo of The Sketches, has been a platform for untapped folk talent for many years, and their annual Lahuti Melo, which this year will take place towards the end of January, will continue to be a one-of-a-kind event. Secondly, the Bradri broadcast might have presented the most ambitious venture as far as folk music is concerned, using what they call a Desi orchestra, and composing songs in 10 regional languages. They are the only ones to represent so many aspects, and often obscure aspects, of folk culture. And finally, we can't talk about music in 2016 without mentioning the DA method. Pakistan has always had a difficult relationship with anything that can be called quote-unquote Western influenced. And when you have a song in English, well, then the Western influence is pretty obvious. So the fact that the DA method took something that could have been rejected and turned it into something that was accepted so wholeheartedly is just a proof of how talented the team is. Again, for their song The Desert Journey, the music video took every risk imaginable. It is set in a brothel, for God's sake. It is shot in one continuous take, which basically means that there are no cuts and hence there is nowhere to hide. They even pick actors who can actually act instead of using useless eye candy, which in itself is slightly unorthodox. Essentially, it just goes to show that when you're good at what you're doing, you can take risks and they will pay off. In slightly less talented hands, this would have been a mess. But it is safe to say that it is one of the best things to come out of Pakistan in 2016. It was so good, in fact, that you can ignore and forgive Urwa Hussain, or Hussain, I don't know how she's spelling her name this week, but you can forgive her painfully unwatchable video which was released around the same time. Now, fun fact, that one was so bad that Images for Dawn wrote an entire article about how despite it being horrible, you still need to support it because bad music is good for the music industry. I don't understand. Read the article. Anyway, I digress. The point of this video wasn't to shame the bad, but to highlight the good. And the good thing about 2016 was that we had some rather daring people really think about what they are doing. It wasn't just about recording a song, they wanted to take their audience on a journey, pun intended, and the result was always worth it. Hopefully, they can inspire a lasting shift in the creative narrative. I mean, we'll always have a discount Bollywood wannabe, which is fine, there's nothing wrong with that. But as long as we have a handful of genuine talent also having its moment, it will all balance out and we will end up with something worth remembering.